Oh, that's not good. Don't listen to that. Welcome back to the Cold Blooded Caffeine podcast. I'm Trey.
And I'm McKendrick.
And this week, we have some interesting conversations in store for you.
What instrument is that, man?
I mean, there's a guitar, there's a bass, there's drums.
There's some hand claps?
I mean, yeah.
Maybe.
All right. That was...
Putting a quiz on Trey early.
Yeah. So fun episode in store today. But before we get started, anything going on in the world of Cold Blooded Caffeine?
What's not going on in the world of Cold Blooded Caffeine, man?
Yep. Had a coffee tasting.
Coffee
this morning.
tasting today went very well.
New customer for the delivery service.
That will be getting fresh roasted coffee. Yeah. So that was always those are always fun. Always
got some new merch that's going to launch soon. I'm working on.
Oh yeah, you got some.
So we should. I mean, maybe even by the time this podcast comes out, which we're a week ahead of when we record, I'll have the new merch out. So fingers crossed there.
Yep.
So yeah, cool. Always staying busy. But I mean, we're trying to be conscious of time and all that kind of stuff to try and stay within the 30-minute window or so. So we're going to go straight into...
Not that one.
We're going to go straight into... In the news. All right, McKendrick. What do you have for us today? That's in the news.
I came across an interesting article that was focused on environmental sustainability.
Okay.
Like, oh, that's interesting.
That's right up our alley. Yeah.
But the way that they are doing it is they're actually working on making a beanless coffee.
Oh, that's not good. Don't listen to that. That ain't good. Don't do that.
A beanless coffee. So a Seattle-based startup coffee company is using things like chicory root, grape skins, and date seeds in order to mimic the taste of coffee, but without using actual coffee beans. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, yeah, I mean, I get the whole, it's all focused on carbon emissions, deforestation.
I think that this is going to align pretty well with our main topic. I don't know if that's why you chose it or not, but I think we're going to talk about, you were thinking ahead. Exactly. Yeah. That's why I knew it. So we're going to talk about a little bit about beyond the actual product, what coffee means, and is it okay to exploit it in ways that may seem innocent on the surface. So like this to me sounds innocent on the surface. Okay, we're trying to do things, but you're then taking livelihood away.
Correct.
From
like there's an entire lot of people that are involved in the.
On the surface, it sounds good.
Yeah, because but that's like most things, right? Like you can paint a picture about a lot of things depending on the angle in which you see it from, and make it sound like, oh, that's not a bad idea. But then you think about. Like, hold up, what about all the people that are involved in the entire supply chain?
You're talking about
to the farm.
Origin. Yeah. You're talking about logistics, baristas and coffee shop owners and roasters.
Yeah. I saw it. I wasn't a big fan.
I think that we should be doing things, absolutely, that are helping the environment. But I think that there's ways, like we've talked about, where coffee can be used in a way that can be good for the environment.
Right.
And so to me, that should be the area of focus more so than an alternative.
But this is, most people want to put every option on the table, right? It's like, all right, let's think about everything we can do. And that would be like the most extreme. You know what? What if we didn't use a coffee bean at all to make coffee? Like,
I mean, almost to the point where you just don't drink coffee, like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not trying to okay, I understand putting it on the table. I just don't know if that's the direction.
Yeah.
Okay. I digress. Okay.
What you got?
So for me, I saw an article this week that there was launching at Coffee Expo. A company is launching a coffee maker that brews coffee using atmospheric water. So it doesn't have...
I don't even know what that means, ladies and gentlemen.
It doesn't have a reservoir for water. It pulls water from the air to make coffee.
So as you can tell, we don't know each other's like breaking news before we go on air. What?
World's first air-to-water coffee machine appears at CES.
I mean, I like the way it says appears, like it came out of thin air. But
all right, so it says one startup recently launched this machine at the CES trade show in Las Vegas, and it's a New York-based company called Cara introduced multiple versions of air-to-water machines. So it's for home drinking water was like the original one.
Wow.
But then they created the Cara Pod, which was a coffee machine using atmospheric water.
So my news was about not using a coffee bean. Yours is
not using water.
Not using water.
Yeah.
All right. Great breaking news segment today.
Yeah. We confused ourselves, in case you were wondering, because
wow, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll keep tabs on either of those to see if they ever become a popular trend. Who knows?
For years, I haven't tried any of the current alternatives. Like there's like the mushroom coffee and all that kind of stuff. I've never tried any of that stuff just because that's not appealing to me. I like coffee. I don't have a problem with coffee. So I don't know. I mean, I'd be interested to see
what happens coffee, with it. Waterless coffee.
More so, I'm skeptic on that one. But okay. Cool. Moving
right along, ladies and gentlemen.
Moving right along. The question of the week this week for us to answer is, what is one coffee producing country that you would like to visit next? So I know you've traveled quite extensively and have gone to a few. What is your ideal next coffee producing country trip? Where are we going? Where's Cold Blooded Caffeine going? Hopefully within the next year to go see coffee farms at origin.
Honduras.
We're going to Honduras?
Yeah.
I'm on board with Honduras. I think we should. We've got some connections in Honduras now that we should be announcing coming up soon, with some connections with reptile people and farms in Honduras. So I think we might be able to pull that off, actually.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, like for me, I've done a good bit of international travel, and most recently was probably Cuba. Since we've started the coffee business, I've been to Cuba.
Didn't you go to
Colombia, Cartagena, Colombia, and I've been
Belize? You went to Belize, didn't you?
I went to Belize. Yeah. Belize is not really coffee.
There's some there. There's some, yeah.
I think what was most of theirs? I think most of theirs was Guatemalan, I believe.
Coffee?
Yeah, because I went looking, and most of what I saw there was Guatemalan coffee. And then I've been to Mexico, but I think that might have been before we started the business.
Well, and were you in northern Mexico?
Yeah. I wasn't in
the coffee regions.
Yeah, the coffee regions of Mexico. No. So yeah, I think Honduras. We may need to just do some research and make that our official coffee trip, R&D coffee trip.
Okay, I like it. I like to change my answer to Honduras because
what was it?
I mean, I'm in between Costa Rica and Colombia because Costa Rica for the reptile side, I think I don't know, it's just it's like the mecca of reptile tourism and stuff like that, like jungle tours and stuff like that, going into the rainforests and looking for cool stuff. But Colombia, in terms of a coffee producing country, it's like OG, right? It's like the where you go, and so that's kind of where I was thinking is do I want to go coffee focused and go to Colombia? Do I want to go to Costa Rica?
Kind of dual focus
and dual focus,
and reptiles.
Or I mean, there's reptiles in Colombia too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm also very interested in Honduras, so I now change my official answer to Honduras.
So we're looking for sponsors. Anybody want to donate? We're accepting increments of $2,500 at a time.
That seems fair.
Seems fair. Yeah, just whatever. Venmo me, PayPal, Cash
buy
out.
a bunch of coffee.
Yeah.
Either whatever you want to do.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Just put it all in coffee. We'll convert it and make this Honduras trip work. Thanks.
Cool. Appreciate it. All right. Now that we've sold our soul to go to this week, we wanted to talk about a subject that I think I've thought quite a bit about. McKendrick, maybe not so much. So he's going to be asking some questions to me. So I apologize in advance if I get a little passionate about this because I care about it a lot. But I brought props.
You brought props, ladies and gentlemen. So
okay, here, I'll give you that one. All right, coffee. So this coffee I stumbled upon. It is Bellarome by Lidl. It looks to be their house coffee.
Oh, I didn't even realize this was Lidl at the grocery store.
Yeah, so it's their kind of like there's a breakfast blend McKendrick has. I just knocked it out of his hand. There's a donut shop. There was a single origin Colombian down here that I got, and I got all these coffees. And what interested me is that these coffees were all marked as Rainforest Alliance certified. And they were all less than $5 for this bag.
And that is a sweet deal.
And so I was like, we might be in trouble. Like I bought the coffee thinking that this might be the end of Cold Blooded Caffeine, right?
100% Arabica, Rainforest Alliance certified ground coffee, 12 ounces.
Because if they can do this for $5, then we might be in trouble. So I bought everyone that I could find, different varieties. I didn't get dark roast up because I knew what the dark roast was, but I got a breakfast blend. I got a donut shop.
I love how they put the ingredient on the bag. Ingredient
coffee. Yeah. I've got a single origin Colombian, and then I've got this one, which confused me the most. The gold coffee.
Oh wow! Look at that.
It's in a box.
Yeah.
And
like the color of a Crown Royal bag or something.
It is imported from Germany. I didn't know that Germany was known for its coffee. And why you would... Now, this one was a little more expensive. You want to guess how much this one was?
$6.
$8.
Oh, okay.
$8.
This one says ingredients, but it still says coffee.
Yeah.
Plural.
So, I don't know. So, yeah.
Let me see that one.
Yeah. So, I bought these because I was genuinely interested. And I was like, can they... How? Because just for your information, so like C market prices, so the commodity market for coffee, it varies. But like that's like what the coffee trades at. And currently it's the highest that I've ever seen it. It's the highest it's been in 40 years. And it's I don't know the exact number, but it has been up to like $2.70. And so that's what like if you want to like trade coffee on the stock exchange, that's what you can buy it for.
Right.
And I can't figure out for the life of me how this coffee can cost so little.
$3.
$4. $4 and some change.
So let's say the trading value is what you say, $2.75.
Let's just call around,
right?
Yeah.
So that means they're making that bag with
packaging, labor. Oh, but also, I mean, it's Rainforest Alliance certified. So this is not C mark.
It's not your normal standard. It's not going to be $2.75.
No, it shouldn't. I mean, so just to clarify, like we talked about in our previous podcast, Rainforest Alliance certified. You can claim that it's Rainforest Alliance certified when there's only 10% Rainforest Alliance coffee in it. Mm-hmm. So that might mean that 10% of it is a $4 coffee, and the rest of it's a $2.75 coffee.
Right.
But I still find it very skeptical that you're able to produce that anyone's able to produce this coffee for $4 and some change with labor, shipping, packaging, all that kind of stuff, in addition to what the coffee costs. So my only conclusion is that they're using this coffee as a loss leader, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just getting to this conclusion to ask a question or to generate some discussion on, is it okay to use coffee as a loss leader?
So maybe you need to define to people what loss leader is.
So a loss leader is a product that is intentionally being sold for less than it costs to produce it.
Correct.
So if it costs $5 to produce the coffee and you're selling it for $4, it's a loss leader.
Right.
And usually you do it to get people to buy something else.
Correct. Right. So you think about.
So like, I'm trying to think of another example.
People won't even know it, right? Like, unless you know the market that you're of the product that you're buying, you may not even know that it's a loss leader.
Let's just say let's talk about pet stores, because that's something that our audience will be familiar with. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that pet stores do this, okay, but I'm just using it as an example because I think you might understand. A loss leader, for example, would sell you the pet for really cheap, maybe even less than what they paid for it wholesale from a breeder, because they know that you're going to come back and buy feeders, and that's what they want to get you to buy, right? So that's where the margins are. Instead of on the animal, it's on the feeders, and I think that that's what's happening here.
And so the question is, where is your passion about this happening? Because if you look at it, right, this is from what grocery store is this? Lidl, however you pronounce it. If, for example, they've done surveys that says, we really love everything in the grocery store Lidl, but I really wish you had coffee.
Yep.
Right? So now survey results would indicate they need to bring coffee in as a way to attract additional, new, and maintain current customers, even if it's at a loss. So I'm going to put coffee on the shelf. I'll lose $1 a bag, but I'm going to gain 5 customers. Mm-hmm. And an average customer spends $200 every time they come.
Yep.
And the profit margin on that is 60%.
So I think it comes back to the same thing, going back to your news of the week item, where there's trickle-down effects that happen, right? And that's the part I'm a capitalist at heart.
Everybody want to make money.
If you want to make money, you are perfectly capable and you have the right to charge whatever you want to for your product. And as far as I'm concerned, now, there's some like government regulations, like if you're creating monopolies and things like that. We're talking about fair trade,
right?
Free market concepts. I think you have the right to charge whatever you want to. So this isn't anything against Lidl or like I'm not trying to specifically pick on them and bash them for this. My question is it okay to use coffee ethically for that purpose? That's my question. And I lean towards saying no because of the trickle-down impacts of it, right? Like, if you're buying this coffee, mm-hmm. you're buying it for the price. Is it creating a false sense of what the market should be? Like, is it saying, oh, well, I'm just going to buy the absolute cheapest coffee, and is it driving that message, right? Oh, well, Lidl's coffee is $5 and I can buy it all day long for $5.
Right.
And there's no way that farmer's getting paid what they should be getting paid, right? There's no way they're earning a fair living, right? There's no way that incentives are being placed for the right things. I understand that it's got the label of Rainforest Alliance on it. I'm not taking that away from it. Understand what that label means, and if it's actually doing, if it's just a marketing item, like if it's just there for marketing purposes, or if it's actually doing what it's supposed to do. And I just can't fathom for $5 a bag that it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Which is kind of what I described.
Yeah.
So in this case, then, right? So so ultimately, that's what I was going to say. The kind of the category that this would fall into is, how do I want to, where do I want to spend my marketing dollars, and how, in order to get more people in the door. And ultimately, that's what this becomes, right? It is, I know people want something. I'm going to give it to them, and I'm going to give it to them even if it's at a loss to me, and I just charge that to marketing to get people in the door.
As long as, like,
because the question becomes, okay, where does it stop? Like, if that were the thing, like, your margins are great on everything in that grocery store, and you've done, all the research that says the one thing I'm missing is coffee, and I know coffee would get more people in the door. Or what if it were, I don't know, what if people were going there looking for, I don't know, what other unique thing that you would go to, that you would want to, I mean, because it could be anything, right? Like,
my point is that it hurts businesses across the supply chain of coffee by doing it that way.
Correct.
Right? And so, like, to me, it's not a fair free market action, right? Like, it's not something that I would encourage, because you're then saying, oh, well, all coffee, like, the consumer sees this and says all coffee should be $5, not understanding what it takes. Like, it's impossible.
Right.
Like, that is not a possible thing to happen. If everyone was like, if we were a loss leader in coffee, we wouldn't have a business.
Correct. Because we're only coffee. Right.
So, and I should probably caveat, I tasted this coffee.
What'd you think?
Our coffee does not compare to this coffee. So let me just say that as nicely as possible.
So ours is much better.
Ours is much better
than the $5 bag.
Than the $5. I think. I mean, to each their own. Okay, my wife begged for me to stop brewing this coffee in the mornings. Like, I was brewing it to try at home.
Oh,
I would try this one and this one. Each one I would brew a pot in the morning, and I did it over like the Christmas break. And she literally sent me to the office to get coffee so that I wouldn't have to use this coffee anymore. So
it's not that. It's just not that good.
It's just not that good. It's mass produced. It's not roasted well. It's very burnt flavor. Even the breakfast blend, the medium or light roast, is very burnt flavor. I mean, open the bag up. I mean, like,
yeah. I mean,
it smells like a dark roast. Like, it smells bitter.
This is our old design bag too. This is like our first design bag that we started out with, which we knew was pretty inexpensive. So they did not spend a lot of money in.
I mean, look how dark that coffee is.
Oh my gosh, that's out of here.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not a.
And that's marketed as a medium roast.
Oh, their breakfast blend is a medium. Okay.
Well, I like all of it was. They didn't actually have a light roast.
Oh, okay.
That I could find.
Wow.
It's very bitter, very dark. So I wanted to say that I feel better about it being a $5 bag of coffee because
of the quality
if that's what you want, if you want $5 coffee, that's what you're going to get. Then that's what you deserve. I mean, I would very much frown on someone that was doing that with specialty coffee, being a loss leader. I am less upset about it being a commodity coffee and being just not very good. But I still think it's on. I still, shame on you a little bit because I feel like it's on a coffee roaster. I think it's part of our job to give the best product and to educate people on what good coffee can be. And that's not good coffee.
Yeah, but you're always going to have those people that are just going, it's volume.
Sure. Again, it goes back to free market. You can charge whatever you want to. I think that ethically speaking, coffee, with its tumultuous past, with its exploitation of human labor, with its not so great history of environmental conservation and, farming practices, I think that it's reckless to market that product for what it is, to say it's a Rainforest Alliance certified coffee, and then to sell it for that cheap. I think it's unethical to do that. So it's ultimately comes down to each of us deciding where your values lie. Obviously, I care a lot about coffee.
Right.
And I understand what it takes to produce that coffee. And I know, comparatively speaking, what our coffee tastes like versus what theirs is, and what our price point is versus obviously what that one is. But that's the free market. You make that decision as a consumer. But what we want to try and do is try and educate through talking about things on the podcast and things like that, about saying, let's question if this is an okay thing to do. If you decide that that's the coffee you want to drink, that's fine.
But I don't think that anyone is just going to Lidl to buy. Like, you're not saying,
sure,
I want some good coffee, let's go to Lidl. Like, no, it's a byproduct of you're in there already, and I don't want to go somewhere else.
That's why I was literally in the same shopping center, and I was like, I don't feel like going somewhere else. I know we're running out of coffee. I don't feel like running to the office to get some.
I wonder.
I run out of coffee more than anybody else.
Which is the weirdest thing.
Literally surrounded by coffee.
From a coffee roaster to say, like.
But I run out of coffee at my house pretty consistently. Yeah. So I was in the same shopping center. I was like, okay, Lidl's, let's see what you got. And this is what they got. And it asked more questions than answered.
Yeah,
for me. So
you might need to do some research in Germany, though. Like, why would you import
I don't know why it's imported. It seems like it's very expensive. Like,
why would you import? Like, they're like occupying space in, like, I don't know. They're sticking them in refrigerators that are shipping from Germany or something. It's like, we're just gonna put these in here and not charge us any extra for it.
So
like, I don't
expensive.
know. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, of course, that's not a thing. Like, there's just too many regulations in place that there's costs associated with shipping these and importing these from anywhere that have to be accounted for. So the cost adds up when you start adding all those things to it, and it would definitely be unfortunate if this goes all the way back to farmers not being paid their fair share for the work that goes into harvesting coffee beans. So let's hope that is not the case, but I guess at the end of the day, we want to know what you think.
Do you think it's cool?
Do you think it's cool?
This is $5.
Do you think it's a good marketing technique to have an item as a loss leader to get them into your establishment?
And another thing I want to say, like, we give away coffee. Like, we have discounts on coffee. We give away coffee in order to generate business. Are we doing the same thing?
Are we?
Like, I'm questioning myself, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is always $5 versus, if I do a buy one get one free deal, it's not all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that does make it. I mean, because it's almost like where
I say it just to generate conversation.
Correct.
Right? Like,
where is the line drawn? Right. Like, for even thinking about a customer, like if there's a customer on the delivery service side that says, "Hey, I want to buy 50 pounds of coffee from you every week," we're like, yes, and they do it for the first 3 months, and then they say, "Hey, I also need some cream and sugar, but I only can pay $1 for it." Would I still sell them cream and sugar?
Or you can say no for 50 pounds of coffee.
Right, and you're buying 50 pounds a week, and I can't sell you a canister of cream and sugar for $1? Yeah. It's almost it's similar question.
So many questions that come up because, I mean, it's not an easy answer. It's not as simple.
It's not straightforward.
No, don't do that. Like, they're doing it for a reason, and they have a good reason. Obviously, they're a successful business. I mean, I don't know a ton about them. I don't frequent. They're not really super close to my house, so I don't frequent Lidl's all that much. And again, I'm not trying to pick on Lidl. Like, there's other people that do. Through the history of coffee has been used as a loss leader many, many times. I'm just asking if it's okay. So convince me otherwise. I'm saying no, but I also say
I'm kind of like in between.
I also say that we kind of sometimes do the same thing with discounts and things. So is it any different of us trying to get people interested in our coffee or interested in our store or, anything like that and hooking them just like Lidl's doing, I assume, is get them in the store for $5 coffee and then I got them. Right. Is it the same thing?
It's volume. Like, give me more people through the door and I can market more by giving away stuff or reducing price or taking a loss on other things.
Yep.
Right. For us, coffee is the main thing, so that's not.
I'm not giving away, but I give away T-shirts.
We do, yeah, that's true. And why? Marketing,
right? But a T-shirt doesn't impact a supply chain quite as much as coffee does. I think I'm still paying the same amount for the T-shirt, whether I give it away or whether I charge $20 for it. I don't know.
Good conversation.
I don't know. I could talk about it for 2 hours.
Let us know what you think.
The ball's in your court. You let us know. Should coffee be used as a loss leader? Why or why not? Drop it down in the comments. All right. This has been another episode of the Cold Blooded Caffeine Podcast. Cold Blooded Caffeine Podcast is brought to you by Cold Blooded Caffeine, your source for fresh roasted specialty grade coffee with a wildlife conservation mindset. Check us out today at coldbloodedcaffeine.com. Also brought to you by
The Coffee Run,
coffee delivery service, servicing all of the low country of South Carolina with your coffee, tea, hot chocolate, apple cider, creamer, sugar needs, and much more. Check us out today at coffeerundelivery.com. Anything else, McKendrick?
If you like reptiles, you like amphibians, and you like coffee, there's only one coffee that you should be drinking: Cold Blooded Caffeine.
Order today.
Order today.
It won't be $5.